Alrighty, we have big breaking news, and it's not about the speaker vote, the sweepstakes. That's important, but I'm not going to talk about that today, even though there are developments there. I'll talk about that tomorrow. What's most important for today is that just a couple hours ago, Christopher Rufo of the Manhattan Institute, I think the leading academic opposing critical race theory and advocating I would say a new academic renaissance in this country, putting wokeism completely out to pasture, making it throwing it in the dustbin of history, and getting back to real scholarship in our universities. He has been appointed by Ron DeSantis to the Board of Trustees of a little liberal arts college that I'm sure almost none of you have ever heard of here in Florida, called New College of Florida. Now, that might not seem like a big deal to people unfamiliar with Florida, unfamiliar with this particular college, but because why wouldn't you put Chris Rufo, like at some big school like UF, where there's tons of students, or Florida State or something like that? If you're going to have Chris Rufo himself, the anti-woke guy as far as academics is concerned, the top advocate of a new renaissance in this country, why put him at this little backwater school? The reason why is because I think DeSantis is going to make an example out of New College. New College is an epicenter of left-wing values. Always has been. That was actually, it used to be the college's unique selling point was that this was like the Berkeley of the South. This was the place you went if you're a big left-winger and you want to be in a left-wing safe space and be with a bunch of hippies. And once upon a time, that might have made this school stand out. Because, believe it or not, there used to be some conservatives in academia. Academia itself, at one point in the past, probably could have been described, on the whole, as conservative. But as the 1960s rotted away at our academic institutions, New College of Florida, which was founded, I believe, around 1960, right around there. So it was a product of the 60s. It became less and less special, and it's been doing very poorly financially. It used to attract people from all over America to come to the school because they wanted to be, they wanted to go where the left-wingers, were really in power. But now, students can go to any college and be treated to, the most debased left-wing cultural values. So DeSantis is taking this school and turning it on its head and promising to turn it into the quintessential anti-woke college. He's turning this from the Berkeley of the South into the Hillsdale of the South. And that will send a message that will reverberate across American academia. Keep in mind, this is the alma mater of Bill Dudley, the former governor of the New York Federal Reserve, who advocated in an op-ed that in 2020 the Fed should start hiking interest rates just to make Trump look bad and to throw the election to Biden. So that's the kind of professional people that this school turns out. A Federal Reserve governor who advocated blowing up the U.S. economy just to stick it to the orange man. Now that very same college is going to be run by Christopher Rufo and his ilk. And the whole, from what I understand, DeSantis appointed an entirely new board of trustees, not board of directors. I think they're called it's called a board of trustees. And they, they have a whole bunch of bullet points all linked to Chris Rufo's thread. They have bullet points on what they are looking to accomplish. I think the third bullet point is to abolish diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're going to abolish diversity. Now, that shouldn't be too hard, even if they meant it in, the sense of, we want all white people, because, I mean, this is one of the whitest academic institutions in the country. If you've ever met a person of color who has graduated from this institution, I would say that is, I mean, that's like finding an albino in Kenya. It's like getting 2 yolks in your egg, or a 4-leaf clover. I mean, they are quintessential, white, Antifa white. But of course, you all know that that's not what diversity means anyway. Diversity means no freedom of thought. And they plan to be hiring faculty, who, I forgot the laundry list of terms that they used, something like, free enterprise was in there, freedom of religion, family values, American principles. There were all these terms that they used that are just an anathema to modern American academia. And so if they're successful, the reason why I think they put Rufo on this and not like some big school is that this is a small school. This is a school with a very small student body, relatively, they have a very high faculty to student ratio, very small classes. It's very much a boutique sort of college. And so I think it will be easier to try and remold, but it'll serve as an experimental ground. It's going to be a model institution for retaking the rest of academia. It's the low-hanging fruit. But at the same time, because this is such a left-wing institution and always has been, I mean, that was its identity really from the beginning. This isn't something like Harvard that was founded as a seminary and became, some crazy den of wokeness. This was really founded, or I don't know about the founders themselves. I'm not that familiar with the history of every single academic institution in the state of Florida, despite being, someone from Florida. But again, this is a school that came up in the 60s and has always had a left-wing reputation. And so if New College, of all institutions, turns into a right-wing institution, if you can do it here, at this place, you can do it anywhere. Gainesville, Tallahassee, that'll be easy once you take down New College. So this is an example, I think, of DeSantis playing the long game. This has proved to me that he is not just, trying to position himself to be president. He's actually trying to create long-lasting change. And he is setting a standard that hopefully will be followed by other governors in the future. Because think about it. Right now, the university system is an albatross hanging around the necks of everyone who considers themselves to be a part of the American right. You can't send your son or daughter off to college without worrying that they're going to be turned into a Looney Tune. And think about it if it was the opposite. If all of a sudden it was the left-wingers who had to worry about their kids being transformed into just normal people. I mean, not even saying like far right. I mean, there's nothing far right in this curriculum, or in this, not curriculum. It's not a curriculum. It's a bunch of bullet points. It's just normalcy. It's just people being normal. It's just saying, hey, you know what? Maybe not every professor should hate America. Maybe not every economics professor, maybe the spectrum of the economics department shouldn't be like from Marxists to Keynesians. Maybe there should be someone to the right of the Keynesians too. Maybe, not every professor who teaches about religion should hate Christianity and love Satan. This is pretty basic stuff. But you move the needle on this, on the universities here, you're going to change the people who are being churned out by these universities, obviously, for the better. And it will solidify Florida's transition into being a hard red state. So I could not be more thrilled. I think that this is the most impactful thing that DeSantis has done as governor, this alone. Like when he appointed Ben Sasse to be the president of UF, it's like, okay, Ben Sasse, I mean, he's fine. He's not super... I don't think of Ben Sasse as being a warrior by any means. But you know what? Hey, at least he's not, just your typical left-wing kook running a university. But Christopher Rufo running a far-left institution like this and completely turning it around will be a joy to witness. And you know what? It may just save this college from, going out of business. Not that a government institution has to worry about that, but, maybe if this gets a reputation as being like, hey, this is the school where you can go and not be fed left-wing propaganda, I mean, that would be huge. Then all of a sudden, think of how many, non-woke high schoolers there are. There's a lot of them, considering that there are no schools in the state of Florida that cater to that. And so this is the niche, I think, that if, this is as much of a niche, at least, as being, left-wing was back in the 60s. As, what's his name? Mr. Prison Planet says, conservatism is the new counterculture. It really is. And so it's only fitting that this institution, which embodied 60s counterculture, now should come to represent the new counterculture. So with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.